He's
Oh, I
a
couldn't wait for this segment,
two-time-
Molly. Go ahead.
Can I do my intro?
Go
Hi,
ahead. I'm
Kenny.
sorry.
He's a two-time NBA champ, an incredible broadcaster, an author, which we'll get to in a bit, and a friend of the show, Kenny the Jet Smith. Now you can say hi, Stephen A. Hey, Kenny.
Queens in the building. Queens, New York is in the building. What's up, baby? What's going on, Kay?
Queens, get the money. What's going on, sir?
Oh my gosh. Here we go. All right, Kenny.
That's
so
what-
I was
that's
gonna
what we
start
do,
with,
Molly.
I appreciate it. I was gonna start with Jay Will's hot take, which I'll get to in a second. But after watching that in bump, so your show is my favorite on television, right? Because you guys just have such good chemistry. You have so much fun. It's so relaxed, everything. I'm just curious, being on television myself, right, with Stephen A., what it's like for you guys, commercial break, off camera, just how much fun you're having.
You know what the interesting thing is? Everyone's like, the chemistry and what happens. It's a constant revolving door. So, like, the conversation that starts in the green room to from the lunch table, that's what makes it to the set. It's the last conversation that we're talking about prior to it. So if we're talking about sports, politics, or pop culture, it's making it to the set if that's the last conversation before they go, okay, everybody, come on out. So it never stops. Like our conversation, I think that's the difference with a lot of other shows. It's a continuous conversation that you're just being part of. And everyone in the studio is part of it. That's why everyone's laughing, because they all know that that's the last thing we were talking about.
You know, let me say something, and on a serious note before I get into these NBA finals. You know, we do an NBA show on ESPN, and I give everybody a little backdrop about this. Whatever show we do, I always let people know we don't just look at these guys as guys who cover the NBA on TNT. Ernie Johnson, the great Ernie Johnson, Shaq Diesel, Chuck, and of course my brother Kenny the Jet Smith. We look at y'all as the standard. We look at y'all as our brothers. And the fact that you set such an incredible example of what to do on the show and how to do a show. Y'all as a show is a treasure and a tribute to the NBA, to the world of sports. As far as I'm concerned, any pregame or postgame show should look at y'all as the model and the standard. And I want you to know, on behalf of people like myself and Wilbon and Jalen Rose, Greeny, and the whole crew, we all know how phenomenal y'all are. We don't just consider y'all friends and contemporaries. We consider y'all our brothers and an extension of us guys who set the standard. It's really, really that simple. That's how much we revere y'all. That's how much I've looked up to all of y'all for years. That's how much love I have for y'all. I just wanted to say that to you right here on national television. Now, let me get to the finals. Go ahead.
We appreciate you, man. And you know, every time that we see you at the finals or on the road, we're like, what day you gonna come and mess with us one day? Just come and sit one day.
That's right. You know me.
It would be mayhem if they did an ESPN TNT collaboration night. Oh, they did a collaboration night, it'd be crazy.
It'd be on and popping. You know that. Let me get to these NBA finals right now, because you got my man Jay Williams, the blasphemy, going on national TV this morning and calling for the Denver Nuggets. He's saying it's a sweep, Kenny, that the Denver Nuggets are going to sweep the Miami Heat. Your reaction to that, sir?
Well, the Boston Celtics was supposed to sweep them as well. You know, if you look at from man to man, like the one thing he's looking at rosters. And if you look at rosters, you go, yeah, they're a better basketball team. You know, have an MVP candidate, they have an all-star with Murray. And then you go 3, 4, 5, because I always say, Stephen, 1 and 2 gets you there. That's Murray and Joker. But 3, 4, 5, 6 wins you championships. So that's Porter, that's Gordon, that's KCP, and Green. Like, those are the guys that will win championships. And 3, 4, 5 has been arguably they're better than the Miami Heat. If you look at them, you know, we're talking about undrafted guys. But the difference has been the ability to play together. And, you know, when you play together and you make the right basketball play, it doesn't lead to 20-point blowouts. It leads to close games. And arguably, who has the best closer in basketball right now? Who's the Mariano Rivera of basketball is Jimmy Butler. So if you can get him to a closing position, you have a great chance. Ask the Boston Celtics. He's just been the closer of basketball. He hasn't been the guy, he hasn't been the middle relief pitcher all the time. He hasn't even been the open pitcher, but he's been the closer.
But here's the thing, Kenny. You got to get to a point where you're in position to close. Looking at these teams play, seeing what you've seen, knowing how to handicap a game the way that you know how to. How is Miami going to make this a series? What has to be done in that intermediate time to position Jimmy Butler to be able to close? How are they going to pull that off?
They have to make their size seem small. So the huge advantage that Denver has is Porter and Gordon are 6'10". Most people think, oh, they're small folk. No, they're 6'10" that can play on the perimeter. So now you have a Duncan Robinson or Caleb Martin guarding 6'10" guys who are athletic and young. So to combat that, you have to make them be small. So you have to keep them perimeter. So I think when Denver says, you know what, Caleb Martin's guarding Gordon, we're not shooting as many threes today. We're going in the box. Oh, Duncan Robinson's guarding Porter, he's going to get on the box too. When they make the game faster and keep it perimeter, they have a better chance. If they say Denver goes, no, we're going to pound you as well. We're going to put it inside in the low post and make things happen. It's going to be a long series for them. But I think Spoelstra knows how to keep Porter and keep Gordon on the perimeter. That's the key. And don't let them offensive rebound. Don't let them post up on a plethora of things.
Stephen A., let me pivot here real quick. Kenny, you won 2 championships in Houston with Hakeem Olajuwon. Recently, Robert Horry was on Showtime and said this about him being the best big man. Take a listen.
All the other teams I played for, there's one common denominator was great big men. You know, think about Shaq, Tim Duncan. And if you said right now, name the top 5 big men, I played with 3 of them.
Yeah. Who's who? You play with 3 of them?
Well, Dream's number 1 by far.
Kenny, what do you think? Who's the best big man ever?
Well, out of the 3 that he talked about, what makes I can understand how Robert said that, because when Rob played with us and he was with Dream, with the difference with Dream is able to affect the game in 5 different categories every night. So everyone talks scoring, rebound, and assist. He did that. He could lead assists, but defensively, he could affect the game, and also pace of the game, he could lead you, and also leadership. So he's affecting the game in 6 different areas that most big guys could only do. And I'm talking about the greatest of greats could do 4, but he's doing 6 areas, you know, and he's the only player in NBA history that could, you know, I think we got the quadruple double, and he almost did that multiple times. It wasn't like when he did that, you know, it was like, wow, he did it. No, it was like every 3rd or 4th night, he'd almost have 10 assists, 10 block shots. Like, the ability to play the totality of the game and then ball handling skills, I could see how Robert could say that.
Well, let me say this, and let me get your response to what I'm about to say, Kenny. He's not the greatest center of all time, but anyone who says that, I have no problem with it. Here's the reason why. You talked about the multitude of the categories that Olajuwon was obviously very prevalent in, right? Leadership was an issue with some of those dudes, those other dudes that we talk about. There was somebody else that led the way. This is the man that led the league in rebounds twice, led the league in block shots 3 times. We know before the last few years, as his career winded down, he was good for 25 and 11. He spent the first 12 years in the league averaging at least 11 rebounds per game, okay? We look at that. Here's the greatest compliment I believe anyone, no one has ever really said it about Olajuwon, but it's the absolute truth, Kenny. He was drafted before Michael Jordan. And no one blinks. We know who was number 2. It was Sam Bowie. When you think about the fact that Portland passed up on Jordan, some people felt that, everybody that was associated with the Portland Trailblazers should have been fired twice because they passed up on Jordan. No one uttered an insulting syllable towards the Houston Rockets for grabbing Akeem the Dream Olajuwon from Phi Slamma Jamma at North Carolina State. No one has ever said a word because we know how great Olajuwon was. It's the greatest compliment you could say about him.
Yeah, that probably, Stephen, that's a great point. At no point in any basketball circle have they said, man, they took the wrong guy.
That's right.
Like, no one said that.
No one said that.
And we know that Michael Jordan, arguably or is the greatest basketball player in our generations, at least ours that we've seen, the age that we are. But no, like, never. That is a unbelievable accomplishment to say that it's okay that we took you over Jordan. People in Houston never go, we missed out and took Jordan, and we could have had Jordan.
Right.
That's never been said in Houston ever.
SA, let me get one more in here. Can I get the Jay Wills take off the top? So, Kenny, Jay Wills was trending earlier because he had a take off the top of the show, essentially saying that Jimmy Butler is harder to guard than Kevin Durant and LeBron James. To that, you say what? This postseason.
Well, one you would ask his comrades, is he harder to guard? But I think Kevin Durant is the best, scorer in basketball in the last, 10 years. He's been the hardest guy to guard. I would disagree with that respect, only because, the multitude of ways he scores and the ease that he could score. It's not really that he's scoring, it's the ease. Like, can he get it from the perimeter? Is 7-foot guard. Like, that is not normal. There are Jimmy Butlers. There's been Dwayne Wade. There's been, guys like that body build that have played in the NBA. There hasn't been a Kevin Durant. George Gervin is the closest thing, and he was 6'7". Kevin Durant was 7 foot and doing the same thing. So that would make him, I wouldn't even know who to place on Kevin Durant. When you walk into the game, the only thing I would argue with Jay is say, well, we know that this guy's going to attempt to guard him. Like, okay, this is the guy we're going to put on Jimmy Butler. When you walk in an arena with Kevin Durant, your team has no clue what guy's going to guard him that night. I don't think that.
With him or LeBron?
What's that?
With him or LeBron? LeBron's 6. I said with him or LeBron. LeBron is 6'9", 260. 260.
You're guessing. You're guessing when you put guys on them. You're not sure. Jimmy Butler comes in the building. This is the guy who's going to guard him tonight.
All right.
Here we go.
Kenny, I want to talk about you because I love to read, and I especially